Well, hello everybody. A little update from the grow room. I'm doing something a bit different to start with. I get different comments from people, where is the grow room? What is the grow room? Well, it's a couple of bars of fluorescent lights and a spare bedroom here. I'm just now planting my tomatoes and basil seeds today. This is the 11th of April, the day that I'm doing this anyway. So I will give you a little look around. The spare bedroom has one of those strange beds that has a double bed on the bottom and a single bed on the top. That way you can sleep more people, in theory, I guess. And that is Angel. She's enjoying the lower bed as I work in here. She's not normally in here, but I just can't say no to Angel. So this is the setup. It's just two tiers of the tubes. I just replaced the fluorescent tubes, and they are a special kind for plant growth. They're not those new thin ones. They're probably an inch or more around or across, whatever the tubes. They're sort of the standard fluorescent tube size. I wanted to get the newer ones, the slender tubes, because I think they are better for plants, but ordered them from Amazon. When they came, they were 3 feet long, and my fixtures are 4 feet long, and I couldn't find 4-foot ones, so here we go. I'll just give you a look at what's going on down here with peppers and geraniums and rhubarb and lettuce that's going to be harvested today. Eventually I'll bring one or two of those up on the upper level and talk about them a little bit more. Right now I'm planting seeds, and I'm going to plant one of my host tomatoes in a method that Southpaw Davy has just demonstrated. Well, that's sort of an overview, I guess, of what I'm doing. There's nothing really to show in these pots other than to tell you what I've planted in them. Just been planted a few minutes. Sometime within the next week, 10 days, I'll expect to see germination. I'm growing 3 kinds of tomatoes. I started by saying I was only going to grow the San Marzano, the Italian heirloom sauce tomato. And those will be, well, if I get ripe tomatoes, very late here. They're a very long season tomato, and even growing in my hoopos, it will take a long time for those to ripen. And Kevin Bradley very kindly provided me with a couple of other varieties. But firstly, I know I have some Italian subscribers. I've mentioned different things about Italy and get kind comments back on them. The seed packet, these came from West Coast Seeds, and they're called San Marzano Lapadina 2. For some reason. Isn't Lapadina the island of Italy in the Mediterranean that has seen so many of the refugees arrive? Somebody can let me know whether or not I'm right there. It just sounds like the name anyway. And the 2 varieties that Kevin gave me, one is called Beaver Lodge, a slicer, and one is Sasha's Alte, I guess, Sasha's Alte. Anyway, they're both short season, so determinate varieties, and one is 55 days and one is 59 days, and I think that usually means from transplant, not from starting them from seed. So they should provide me with some early tomatoes, and I'm anxious to see what they're like, Kevin. I've also planted 2 kinds of basil. Well, several kinds of basil, I guess. This is a gift seed packet. You always get a little gift from West Coast Seeds when you place an order, and it's a mixture of different kinds of basil. In the last few years, I've only grown the green globe basil because I like it very much, but I'm departing from that this year. And I'm also growing what is called holy basil. I've heard many people talk about it on YouTube growing it, so I have to see what it's like. Great difference in the seed. These basil blend seeds were 3 or 4 times the size of the holy basil seeds. They're basically like dust, but anyway, that's what's in the things there so far. And now I'm going to plant a host tomato, Southpaw Davy style, I guess. He wanted to get a tomato, I think from a store-bought variety or something. He wanted to try to see if it would come true from seed. And basically what he did was put fresh seeds on soil, and he has had excellent germination rate with it. So I will try the same thing. cover it with plastic wrap like I have the others. I put an elastic band around. That's how I start all of my seeds. I know there are many people who have many different seed starting methods, but that's how I start mine. I've seen people, germinate them on paper towels and whatever first and have great luck with that. This seems to work for me, especially on the heat mat. With the plastic, you don't have to re-water. It holds the moisture in. And I'll do the same thing with this. I won't bother doing it here on camera. I will water them in a little. I'm confident that it'll work. As I said, I saw it work for Davy. And I always have volunteer tomatoes coming up in the hoop house from tomatoes that fell off the vine and I didn't see them, and they spent the winter in the hoop house, and they germinate and come up in the spring. So I'm sure it will work. I'm down to one plant for my house tomatoes, and I don't want to lose them. So if I get a few out of that, I'll start a few more plants. As you can see, these are my little strawberry seedlings. My very last video from the grow room was when I transplanted them into individual pots. They were much tinier than that, but I had a dozen. Of the dozen, I lost 7 from being transplanted. I've been transplanting things for many years and occasionally lose a plant or two, but I've never seen anything like these. They did not want to be transplanted, I guess. Also, the variety is called Fresca, and somebody that I subscribe to and watch their videos is growing a lot of different things from seed. He always does, strawberries and whatever. And I corresponded with him and told him my luck with transplanting these things. He said that his issue with them is they do not survive the winter, so that's not good. I will be still having a strawberry garden. I ordered a dozen ever-bearing plants from Vessey's. I also plan to move my alpines out of the hoop house. I have a long, narrow row of a dozen or more alpine strawberry plants, and I want the space for something else, so they're going to go out into my strawberry patch. So hopefully I'll still have some strawberries, just not as many as I thought I was going to get. So how's that for a contrast? This enormous rhubarb is doing very well. I don't think they're pot bound. I'll be showing you something in a few minutes, not with one of the rhubarbs, but I'll show you something that's happening with one of the others. This is also a rhubarb, planted the same day. I think the problem was there's 2 like that and there's 2 like this. The 2 small ones got shaded out underneath of these giant leaves, so I've brought the 2 small ones up top here and put them under the lights. And, well, they're at least growing new leaves, so I guess they're going to continue developing, I think. I hope, anyway. But, so far, success, I guess, with the rhubarb. This is one of my 3 lettuce plants, and to be fair, it's the nicest looking one. The other 2 are longer and spindlier, but they're all going to be harvested today into a salad for dinner this evening. I've had a few leaves I've used in sandwiches and whatever, but I need the space, and I suspect they'll start to get bitter anyway pretty soon. I want to start more of the same variety, Little Pearl I think it's called, but not yet, it's too early. I will be growing them in the garden this summer. I just did 3 plants to see what it would be like in here in winter under the lights. And this is one of my geraniums. They're getting very tall, probably too tall, reaching for the light. But, geraniums are thankfully one of those things that are a bit forgiving when you transplant them. But what I want to show you now is the root system on this thing. I will take it down and unpot it and give you a look at it. As I've said before, I use the hydroponics fertilizers, very weak. The 3 different kinds mixed into a pail of water. I demonstrated that on one of my previous videos. And I don't know whether to attribute that to the use of the hydroponics list, to the use of the hydroponics or not. But I want to show you. For the size of that plant, it isn't really root bound. I mean, you can see some roots around the edge, but there's lots of space here for roots to grow. Nothing was growing out through the holes at the bottom. And I find that this is my 3rd year of doing this. I find that with most of the seedlings that I grow and use it, I don't have to upplant them into larger pots. This is probably a 3-inch pot, I guess. I don't think that's a 4-inch. But I mean, it's grown that huge plant, and it just has that small root system. So once again, I lay that to the excellent fertilizer. I'm growing 4 or 5 different kinds of peppers. This one just happens to be the one's called Amish pimento. But all I want to show you, I guess, is that they had to be topped. They were starting to get too tall and lanky under the light, so a few days ago I just clipped the tops off of them. And I don't suppose that actually is showing, but that has already worked. There's another leaf coming out at that leaf node. And there's one here and one here, so they're going to branch out and become bushier. And also, thankfully, when you plant peppers are a lot like planting tomatoes. You can plant them a bit deeper than they grew, and mine will be inside of the hoop house, so won't have to worry so much about wind bothering them anyway. Well, that concludes a little update from the grow room. Thank you very much for watching.